A friend of mine did a parachute jump for his stag weekend, so all of us had to go and join him with, and it was a static line jump, which is a bit like, if you've ever seen those war movies, what they jump out with like a bit of a string on your back, and that pulls your parachute cord open. We didn't have a instructor strapped to the front of us. I don't think you're allowed to do it now, but it was terrifying. It's the most scary thing I've ever done. They were about 3,500 feet above Salisbury Plain, and my legs were shaking like an Elvis impersonator. I was so scared, and my legs weren't going to jump. So what I did is I grabbed hold of the top of the plane by my arms and threw myself out head first. And as I fell out the plane, the instructor said, "Effing hell," which isn't really what you want to hear when you're plummeting to the ground. And supposedly my legs missed the ripcord by about that much, so I'm quite lucky to be alive. I remember I used that picture as an illustration for something in a sermon. I can't even remember what the sermon was about now, but afterwards I was chatting with a lad and he said, "You know what? That's how I feel about the idea of evangelism. It feels like I'm leaping out of a plane, absolutely terrified, and thinking that I'm probably going to commit social suicide and do it massively wrong, and I'm just terrified." And it really made me think about what actually, we talk a lot about sharing our faith, being witnesses, outreach, all those kind of things. But actually we don't really unpack it, and we don't really think a little bit about what that might mean in everyday life. And certainly there are a lot of people who think, well, I'd love to have a conversation about Jesus, I'd love my friends to hear a bit about it, I'd love it if they asked a question, but I just don't know what to do. I've never seen it modelled well, and actually I'm worried that I might end up looking like a right idiot, and it'd be really embarrassing, and I might even end up letting God down. That was the baggage behind that conversation. And so I've really thought over the years about how can we make mission and evangelism just a more normal part of everyday life. And I came up with this very simple strategy. It's not a great strategy, but the first thing I thought was, well, number one, admit you're a Christian. Just put it out there. You don't have to be ramming it down people's throats, but just let people know that the faith stuff matters to you. And maybe just pray for opportunities to bless and opportunities to chat. And if those opportunities come up, to take them. But I'd also say this. There's a great verse in 2 Peter that says, "Always be prepared to give an account for the hope that you have, but do so with gentleness and respect." If you're gently talking to somebody about something you're interested in, asking questions, having a few little thoughts, that's all great. We can do that in a respectful and a kind and a loving way. What no one is advocating is going out there and offending people, slagging people off, being argumentative, all those sort of stuff. We've probably all seen that stuff done, and largely I don't think that's very helpful. So again, I'll just say that verse one more time. Always be prepared to give an account for the hope that you have. So always be prepared to chat about it. People know that you're approachable and that you'll chat to them about it, but you're not forcing it down their throat. They're able to come to you, but do so with gentleness and respect. And then I was thinking, people often have this idea of mission as one of 3 things. You often have this idea of mission about it being words, about our mission. It's all about the talking. It's all about the apologetics. It's all about the answering difficult questions. It's all about having a great story or clever high-powered conversation. It's all about the words we say, and there's definitely a place for that. But some people might say, well, actually, it's more than that. It's actually about how we live. We live in a world that has lots of words. People talk a lot. People talk a great game. The problem is that the world is fed up of words. We need people to be able to see Christ in us. Our words and our walk need to match up. There's a saying I think I heard one time that's saying, "I can't listen to what you're saying because your life is speaking too loudly. And then lastly, I want to talk about wonders. Words, work, and wonders. That actually sometimes God shows up. You know, maybe somebody asks you, you say, can I pray with you? Maybe you're a situation that's messy, you're saying, actually, we're going to be praying for stuff. And God answers prayer, that moment of God coming through. The words, works, and wonders. And different types of churches emphasize different types of ways of doing it. But my challenge to each one of us is, we're going to think over the next couple of weeks about words, works, and wonders. But I think the greatest thing that we can all do is to be able to learn a little bit about all of them and to be that little bit more fruitful, that little bit more wise, and having a toolkit of opportunities and a toolkit of gifts and skills to be maybe just a little bit better at having a conversation, a little bit better at maybe asking a good question, maybe thinking a little bit more strategically about how we can bless and help and come alongside people, and maybe having the faith to be bold in our prayers for people and their situations. So the next couple of weeks we're going to look at words, works and wonders and putting it together in everyday normal life that's not weird or freaky, but is just a normal way of living our Christian life following Jesus.